Hello, and welcome to this special video presentation as part of the Imagine Festival, Northern Ireland's Festival of Politics and Ideas. Now, of course, this year the festival has, as a practical, hands-on, face-to-face live entity, has had to be cancelled, but it is now being moved online. Indeed, I believe it is one of the first festivals ever to do so in this country, which is very exciting. Now, I am an independent democracy inspector. You can see by my badge and my uniform. And like a lot of freelancers, I am currently working from home. As you can see, I'm here in my living room and not out on the road inspecting democracies the way I would usually be doing. So just because we are practically in lockdown here in Northern Ireland does not mean that the very important job of inspecting democracy is going to cease. I mean, that would be madness. Here in Northern Ireland, normal politics has been thrown up in the air. Everything is in crisis. Politics here has been all but suspended. Now, I know what you're thinking. In Northern Ireland, really, who could tell the difference? I think we're well used to long periods of suspension in our political life, so I think we're going to be just fine. And let's face it, here in this part of the world, who doesn't want to socially distance themselves from their elected representatives? I know I have spent most of my life trying to stay at least 2 meters away from members of the DUP. So as far as I'm concerned, it is business as usual. But how, I hear you cry from your living rooms around the country, how are we going to have our democracies inspected remotely in this fashion? Well, I'm here to tell you that the Imagine Festival has spent quite a bit of money installing some very high-tech equipment here in my home office, and this is going to allow me to receive information from you remotely via the information superhighway. Now, forget your Mentimeters and all that kind of stuff. This is more high-tech than that. These devices that they have installed in my house allow me to make a psychic connection between myself here in the office and yourselves out there in video land. All you need to do is you need to stare at your screen, you need to concentrate really hard with your answer, and I will receive the information here in the office and we'll get the results later. We'll be able to tell you them almost live. The equipment's working okay, isn't it? Yeah? Oh, we need to do a test, right? Okay, so we need to do a test, everyone. Okay, so here, concentrate very hard. I'm gonna ask a question and we'll get your results via that psychic link. Okay, we're ready? Here we go. Hands up, who thinks democracy is a good idea? Oh, no, don't worry. Seriously, you don't have to do that, because even with this new equipment, there's no way I'm going to be able to see who's got their hands up around the country. Just my little joke. Those of us involved in the business of democracy inspection, that's our favourite gag. We lap that stuff up. It's going to be that. Now, on to the questions proper. This is basically the inspection that I would do in person at your place of democracy, of representation, but we're going to do it remotely. So here we go. There's an official bit at the start here that I need to run through. It's just legal stuff, so here we go. Hello, I am a democracy inspector. And I just wanted to ask you some basic questions to check how your democracy has been running. Is that okay? Yes. Obviously, if you don't get your democracy checked regularly, then it can start to underperform and in some cases, stop working altogether. Did you know that democracies have been known to stop working for almost 3 years on occasion due to neglect? You have no idea how many people seem happy to just let a broken democracy limp along without getting it fixed or replacing it, and I'm sure you're not one of them. Obviously, we're in now checking your democracy over, but when was it last checked before that? Okay, now I want you all to concentrate really hard, and tell me, when was the last time you had your democracy checked? Excellent work. Second question. How would you say your democracy has been working since it was last checked? I can feel things tingling through the ether. You're obviously doing very well. Next question. I see. And what have you done about that? That's a very important question, that one. Next question. Has anyone else been trying to fix your democracy for you? You have to be very careful with that one, because people tampering with your democracy can lead to invalidation, if that's a word, of your guarantee. Now, here's a question for you, everyone. The problem with your democracy may be to do with one or more of the major parts of your democracy banging together without the lubrication of mutual respect and understanding. Do you think that might be the case with your democracy? It's a big question. Okay, last question. You've recently got your democracy working again, but even the briefest of checks has shown me that it is in a delicate state and it could go again at any minute. Have you ever considered getting a new one? That's all the questions. Thank you for your time. I'm sure the opportunity will arise quite soon for you to do something about your unreliable democracy, and I wish you all the best with it. Okay, so you've all been concentrating very hard and sending me the results of that questionnaire. We'll be able to collate that information and bring you some of the results from around the country shortly. But before we do that, I just wanted to show you something else, which again, something which we in the democracy measuring and inspection trade would be using on a day-to-day basis if we weren't stuck here in our home offices. Now, as you can see here, we have a load of balls, and I'll just open these up and show these to you. Yeah, they're all very, you've probably seen these before. They're the sort of things that you would find in a children's ball pit. Yeah, and in conjunction with this particular item, look at this now. This, as you can see, this is what we call a democracy receptacle. And these balls are used in order for you to exercise your democratic right. If you were to walk into a polling station or something of that ilk, you could be deciding on a particular option for your democracy, and you just basically place your ball into such receptacles. It's all part of a democratic process. But obviously, at the moment, touching stuff which has been touched by a load of other people is clearly a big no-no at the moment. And full disclosure, I recently loaned these balls out to a soft play area to fill up a ball pit with, and so God knows what's all over these now, it has to be said. And obviously, until quite recently, I haven't really been able to purchase any hand sanitizers, so really best that we're not using these. I've recently been given by the Imagine Festival this particular, so there we go, that's that sorted. So instead of using the democracy registering balls and the democracy receptacle there, we're going to carry out a little experiment, again virtually, using the psychic connection technology we have here in our home office. So I'm going to ask you all to pick one of the following 4 statements. And these statements are going to be 4 different options. Decisions are most democratic when ... And there are 4 options, okay? And at the risk of breaking with tradition for voting in Northern Ireland, I'm going to ask you to vote early, but not often. Okay, that's great. And the prize for taking part in this democratic experiment will be a fully functioning assembly fit for purpose, filled with compassionate and competent MLAs. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, no, I nearly got through that, but no, just my little joke. Honestly, I think we have to be realistic and basically keep this within the realms of reality. There is no prize for taking part in this. It's just for fun because, as everyone knows, democracy is a lot of fun. So here are the 4 statements, okay? Each time I'm going to hold these up, and afterwards, when you've seen all 4, I want you to do that again. Stare at the screen, concentrate really hard with your answer, and then we'll bring you the results later on in our live results program. It's just like Strictly. It's terribly exciting. Okay, so here is the first one. Decisions are most democratic when politicians are held accountable. That's the first one. Next one. Decisions are most democratic when they are based on the manifestos of the political party who won the most votes. Third one. Decisions are most democratic when there is a level playing field of information about the topic. And the last one. Decisions are most democratic when everyone who wants to participate gets a chance to participate, obviously. So those are your 4 statements. They're quite serious, aren't they? Yeah, well, I believe that most fun is had when quite serious things are mixed with a bit of a level of jollity. And so there you are. What I would say to you is, of course, you're deciding which is the best statement that sums up when decisions are most democratic. But I think we all agree that democracy is really not about ideals and about being the best. It is our least worst solution as to how to run a system or a society. And so you choose what you reckon is the least worst of those statements to sum up when a decision is most democratic. Well, everyone, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to sign off now, but we'll be back quite soon with our almost live results program, where we find out a little bit about what the people around the country have been thinking with regards to those questions I asked, your democracy inspection questionnaire, and we'll also find out which of those statements the people of Northern Ireland believe is least worst for democratic decisions. Until then, I will see you all later. Hey, stay well and stay safe. Hello and welcome back to the Imagine Festival of Politics and Ideas, Northern Ireland's first virtual festival of its kind. And indeed, welcome back again to my home office here, the Independent Democracy Inspector, working from home. And of course, we've now reached our almost live results part of the broadcast, and our very important, very high-tech equipment that's been installed here at HQ to receive your Psychic Link answers to our questionnaire. Those results have been coming in, and I believe we have them, do we? Excellent, thank you very much. Yes, we have some results. Now the computer has picked just a selection of the best results that have come in over the last wee while from you, the public. So the first question we asked was, we're checking your democracy over now, but when was the last time you had it checked before that? And Magella from Pomeroy has said it was March 2017, and ever since then, every time I've gone and poked my democracy to see if it's working, all I get is this rather unpleasant smell of burning wood pellets wafting around the place like a guilty stench, and I can't quite work out what the crack is. Well, Magella, I know you have now got your democracy up and running, and hopefully once it gets chugging along for a while, that horrible smell will go away. It'll linger for a bit, I'm sure, but hopefully it'll be up and running nice and straightforward for you fairly soon. So next question was, how would you say your democracy's been working? And Trevor from Ballywalter has got in touch via the Psychic Link to say, it's been working all right, I suppose, but in the context of now, during the COVID-19 outbreak, he's saying it should be working perfectly because our MLAs are used to working from home. So that's good, Trevor, you're quite right. They're doing their bit for social distancing. Nice one, lads and lasses. Another question that we asked was, what have you done about your democracy during this time? And Norma from Bangor, hello Norma. Norma has said, I have done nothing about my democracy. As long as I can get down to the centre for me toilet rolls, I don't care. A good response there, Norma, well done. Citizenship Award this week goes to Norma from Bangor. And a final question. You've recently got your democracy working again, but even the briefest of checks have shown me that it's in a delicate state. It could go on at any moment. Have you ever considered getting a new one? And Stacey from the New Lodge has come up with a suggestion for a renewed and restored form of democracy. She says, wouldn't it be great if our democratic representatives put their deferred pay rise from last year into a fund to support freelance workers during the COVID-19 outbreak? Now, Stacey, God love you. That's a very charming suggestion, but again, I think we need to keep our feet on the ground and deal in what is realistic and not get into the realms of fantasy. But bless you for your dream. So those are some of the answers that have come in via the Psychic Link, and of course, last but not least, we're going to unveil which of those statements about democratic decisions, which of those statements you decided was your least worst option. Do we have it there? We do. Fantastic. Oh, there we are now. According to the people of Northern Ireland, decisions are most democratic when politicians are held accountable. There we are. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? Now, obviously, we're slightly limited in our ability to hold our politicians accountable at the moment because we're only allowed to leave the house to go and get basic supplies. But I'm sure that normality will be restored as soon as possible to political life here in Northern Ireland. But until then, thank you very much for your time. It's been lovely spending some time with you. As I said, I am an independent democracy inspector. Enjoy the rest of the virtual festival and stay safe and stay well. Cheerio.